Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today's record is going to be one from my childhood and one that most of you probably know and remember, and it's a band that I've talked about here before on Daily Records, Van Halen, and this is their album 1984, released January 9th, 1984, as you probably guessed. He said this was an album I kind of grew up with a little bit, but this was their sixth studio album, and it was the last album to feature lead singer David Lee Roth until they did the album Different Kind of Truth in 2012. He left the band in 1985. They were having they said it was creative differences. He embarked on a solo career. And so this is the final album to feature all four original members of Van Halen: Edward Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, Michael Anthony, and Diamond, David Lee Roth. Pretty well received by the critics. Rolling Stone, if you believe those sorts of things, ranked the album in the 100 greatest albums of the 80s. It was a huge hit. It was one of the best-selling albums they ever released. And it sold over 10 million copies, so it did very well. But the main thing was that it was an album that had quite a few hits, thanks to some video airplay on MTV. And it was a Van Halen album that sort of stretched out from the normal just hard rock that they had been known for, because it became a little more musical. Eddie Van Halen, known for being a great guitar hero, stretched out and was playing keyboards. The opening track, 1984, was a keyboard solo. And then it goes into one of the big hits on the album, Jump, which was driven by the keyboard as opposed to the guitar. Also another single from the album, which was a top 20, I'll Wait, which was synth keyboard heavy. But fret not, guitar fans that are just huge fans of the shredding Eddie Van Halen, because there's tracks like Panama, which was a big hit, as well as Hot for Teacher, which was a staple on MTV. Features some smoking guitar tracks. A little history on it. The previous album the band had done, Diver Down, Eddie Van Halen was not really happy with the concessions he'd made to David Lee Roth and producer Ted Templeman. He felt like they were trying to discourage him from using the keyboards. And so after the release of that album, he had built his own studio in his backyard. He named it 5150, which was the Los Angeles police code for escaped mental patient. And he started working on the material that would become 1984. And he was doing it kind of on his own. He didn't have a lot of interference from David Lee Roth or Templeman. And so this album was a bit of a compromise between those guys. So there is a mix of the keyboard songs, like I said, as well as the sort of hard guitar rock. And so this was the album where Eddie discovered the synthesizer, and that's kind of the way it goes. Now, the front cover, to talk about this, which was really striking, this was graphic artist Margot Nahas. It wasn't specific to the band, but he was asked to create a cover that featured 4 chrome women dancing, but he declined. And so she decided that she didn't want to do that, but her husband actually brought the portfolio to the band, and they found this painting of the little angel stealing the cigarettes. And so the model, then there's a story online you can read about this Carter Helm, who was the child of one of her best friends. She photographed the child holding a candy cigarette, and in the UK, this cover was censored, and so our UK people didn't get to see it, and it had a sticker that obscured the cigarette because, you know, kind of controversial, I suppose, and so that's the story on that. So today's daily record, Van Halen's 1984. Like, subscribe, comment, share, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another daily record.